And the magic happens, the freedom happens when we decide that we're willing to risk everything we've created in devotion to something different, something that is more aligned with our hearts and the truth that we came here to live into. We've all come here with a divine purpose, traveling on a stream of cosmic dust from the stars into our mother's wombs, born into this precious life. It is no accident that you are here, my love, on earth, in this moment, in this body. You are here longing to find your place, to align with your purpose, to embody your passions and to live into the dreams of your heart. Yet so often we get caught, suspended in the tangle of life, not able to move forward, not able to find solace and comfort in a world that has forgotten the truth of our existence. As we begin to remember, as we peel back the layers, as we come together to uncover our unique gifts and reconnect with our authentic selves, we are able to see another way of being, a new possibility, a different life waiting to be lived. I have experienced on this complicated and wild journey of life that when we connect with the story of our soul, it will show us the magic of this life that we have been missing. It will open a window into the very heart of who we truly are, of who we came here to be, and gives us answers to our ever-asking why. Welcome, beloved souls. So good to be with you here today in this episode about what are you willing to risk to do what you love. And these times that we're in, even though they're hard, even though they are incredibly uncertain, and at times are just incredibly dark, what happens in these times is that there is also so much opportunity for expansion. There are more businesses born during recessions than close. There are more new ideas that come out of downtimes than out of uptimes. And this is because the nature of the universe, right? When there's chaos, new things happen. This is how the universe expands, is through chaos. Everything gets muddled, and then a big expansion happens. Things contract, and then they open. And so we have this incredible portal that we're inside of that if we're willing to take advantage of it, we can really take our spiritual journey, our devotion of ourselves, and our desires to the next level. Now, I'm not saying that that won't take hard work, and it won't take your utmost care and your willingness, right, to risk the things that are not working for you any longer in devotion to the life you know you're supposed to be living. And what this looks like, right, is that we have a whole lot of excuses about why we can't make a decision. And I get it. I've been there. It can be a very spicy place. And yet I also know that when you choose to take a step anyway, that life does rearrange to meet you. So these might be small things, right? Just, I really need to clean out my garage, but you're choosing something else instead. And then every time you walk in the garage, you're like, oh my gosh, this is just driving me crazy. I gotta get in here and clean this out. And then you have 5 other things that happen and 10 other things you choose and all these reasons why you cannot clean out the garage today. And I'm not saying this to make you feel bad, right? This is just how we are. This is just what we do as humans, right? we often just allow ourselves to just be pulled in a direction that is made of distraction rather than heart-centered pulling, right? That's a very different pull, like the thread of your soul pull. That's an entirely different type of pull, but I'm talking about the pull where we're just out of our body and the thoughts are racing and we're just going to the next thing because we have to. And there isn't a clear decision being made of like, hey, no, I got to clean out the garage today and all these other things can wait because this is what I need to do. Like, that's it. End of sentence, right? And then these range all the way up to what I'm seeing a lot of right now is that I need to leave this relationship. It isn't working for me. And yet we're stalling, right? We're in that place where, oh, there's so many excuses and it's going to be hard and I'm scared and I'm afraid and I don't know how. And the list goes on and on and on. And yet from that place, right, we become disempowered because the truth of you knows that it's time. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, right? I'm talking about those friendships that are done. I'm talking about those jobs that are done, those bosses that you're not in alignment with anymore and you do not want to give your precious time to. The coworkers that you see every day that you've outgrown. I'm not saying any of these things making anybody else wrong. It's just literally you have outgrown the situation that you are still trying to force yourself into. The image I see, right, is the round hole in the square peg. And you're just done. And you know you're done. And yet you're afraid. And you're waffling. And you really don't know what is next. And none of us do, my loves. None of us know what's next. Like even me, like, yeah, okay, I'm going to get up. I'm going to record this podcast. I'm going to support the women in my groups. I'm going to host the events. I'm going to spend time with my children. I'm going to take my dog for a walk. I definitely have to feed all my animals, right? Like these things I know, but do I know that if I get up in the morning that I'm not going to get a phone call that takes me in a different direction first? Or if I shared in a recent podcast how a dear mentor of mine, her ex-partner took his life. Like we do not know what we are going to wake up to tomorrow. And again, it's not about fear of the future. It's about cultivating the energetic sovereignty, the mental and emotional capacity to be able to hold whatever happens and know that life is just unfolding for us and that we can walk through whatever the decision is, whatever the circumstances are, right? Because we cultivate it inside ourselves. We bring it forth from the internal. We do not expect it from the external. I spent so much of my life run by the external world. It owned me, right? What other people thought, what other people did, what the circumstances were, how much of a victim I was going to play out that day, right? What people at my job were doing, how much money I had in the bank, where I lived, what my neighbors were doing. It was just everywhere, right? What kind of conversation I was going to have with my mom or my dad today. It all dictated who I was being on the inside. And the magic happens, the freedom happens when we decide that we're willing to risk everything we've created in devotion to something different, something that is more aligned with our hearts and the truth that we came here to live into, right? A life that is more sustained by the earth, a life where we are more connected to all the beings on the planet, a life where we know our intuition so deeply, right? That we never question, that we just show up in the willingness, in the devotion, in excitement and some fear, right? A little bit of just like, maybe fear is not the right word, nearsightedness, nervous and excitedness, right? And we just keep showing up and we're just willing to make the next decision that aligns with the truth of our heart and our soul and the life that we came here to live. So it's early days, 2026. And I imagine you have the things that you would love to create this year, the way that you would feel fulfilled in your bones, and invitation, right? To look at all the things that you say to yourself about why you can't take action now, why you have to wait, why you can do fill in the blank when fill in the blank happens, right? We do this to ourselves all the time. I bet you could write down your excuses and you would see that they're the same excuses you use in many places in your life. And again, this is not said with any shame or guilt or judgment. It is just literally like, this is the way we work. This is our humanness. But our job, if we're willing to be with it, is to see this as our programming, right? To see this as our beautiful programs that are there in place, limiting us, keeping us safe. No, don't go over there and do that. I feel a little uncomfortable. And it's like, yeah, you know what? But you get to feel uncomfortable because that is part of the process, right? Remember, if you want to live a sensational life, you have to be willing to feel sensation. And that is the game changer, right? Because your sensation will give you so much information and then you can actually do something different. So what are you willing to do differently today? Get out a piece of paper, write down all the things you want to do, and then all the things you're doing instead. Because believe me, if you're not doing what you want to do, it's because you're choosing something else. And yes, there's energetic, mental, emotional implications as well. But unless you get really clear on what you're choosing instead of what you want to choose, like you don't have a clear picture, right? Once you know what you're choosing instead, now you can pull out your tools and you have something you can work with because you're super clear that you're choosing to get on your phone and scroll on Instagram instead of writing that newsletter that you want to write, or instead of going to the gym, or instead of like going in the kitchen and making something delicious for dinner so you don't end up ordering takeout again, right? These are the little places that we can see where we're out of alignment with our truth, where we make choices that are different than the choices we want to make. And now we can go in there and we can do something about it, right? It's an empowering move to really witness where you go unconscious. If you want to take this practice deeper, I have a self-study called Ignite Your Intuition. I know some of you already have it. And we take this practice and we go deeper with it. There's a link in the show notes for that. There's also a link in the show notes for Journey. I know you've been hearing me talk about it a lot lately, but this is where we do all this delicious and yummy and juicy work, right? Where we take the fiery substance of our soul and we do something with it. We move through it. We learn the tools. I love seeing you in my spaces. Mwah.